So I got to look at that. When we put
Yeah.
It gets cold.
It's also not sweet.
It's good. You don't want sweet tea. There's too much sugar in it.
So I like to go down. Whatever you got, get it over to me.
And then you know
Nice to see you. I know. We always run by, right?
Every Saturday, she does a little Saturday. Every Saturday. She used to be with Jody coaches together.
Oh, was that
No matter how big a fortune I wanted to spend on running gear or race entry fees. He always said, whatever you want, sweetie, go. And I was going to try and get through this without breaking down, but I'm not sure I can. He also always told me that when he died, he didn't want a funeral where everyone was crying and sad. He wanted a party where everyone was celebrating the happy times and the good times. So that's what we're doing here today. We're going to celebrate his life and the part that we all played in it. So thank you again for being here, and I'm going to turn the floor over now to our kids so they can share some of their thoughts and memories of their dad.
All right, well, I'll do my best. I have my targets. So again, thank y'all for coming. I know Bob loved it. He does love it. So I met Bob when I was 9, and he was the one guy. Not that my mom dated a lot of guys before Bob, but there was 2 that I remember that I wish Tom was here because we could tell some stories. We gave these guys the hardest time just so they would leave. Well, with Bob, we didn't. One, because he scared us, but we loved him. He was a good man. He was a selfless man. He would have given anything for anybody in this room. And I think we all know that. One of my favorite things that Bob and I did in the last 5 years of his life was every Monday, almost like clockwork. We might have missed 3 or 4 in 5 years. He and I would just run a couple errands together for an hour and a half. We run some errands and we talk, just me and him. And it was talk about nothing. Or he'd have something to say, or I'd have something to say, but it was just me and him. There was nobody else around, and I cherish that. And every Monday, today included when I woke up this morning, I wanted that hour with my dad. Well, he's always here. one funny story, and I'll turn it over to whoever wants to go next. Kind of like we were talking a minute ago about how Bob came racing in his chaps when I was in the hospital. Well, New Year's Day 2020, I'm dog sitting for a friend of mine, and we're doing our normal walk, and Bob had met this dog several times, and she loved him, of course. So my two dogs and this little tiny 10-pound dog, we're doing our walk, and that little dog decides to jump after a squirrel, but she only goes 3 legs. So one leg gets stuck in the dirt, and it just snaps. I've got the x-ray if anybody wants to see it. It's a gruesome picture. Anyway, so I gather myself, and I get the dogs, and I'm holding this one, and I get him inside, and I'm freaking out. So what do I do when I freak out? I call my dad. 42 years old, I still call my dad. What does Bob do? He puts everything aside. He's in the movie theater with Riley and my mom. And he just tells them, I gotta go. And he was at my house in probably 3 or 4 minutes, which should have taken 15. So we get the dog settled, we get in the little, the Volkswagen, and he takes me to the vet. New Year's Day, 2:30 in the afternoon with his granddaughter in town to visit. All he was thinking about was taking care of somebody that needed his help. And we're going, I looked at the speedometer, we're going 84 miles an hour down Skilton to get to the vet. And I told him, I said, Bob, you can slow down. No, I can't. No, I can't. But it wasn't for the dog, it was for me. And he sat at that vet's office with me for 3 hours until my friend showed up. And I'll never forget that. That's just kind of that's the man Bob was. You needed something, he was there. And that's really all there is to say about him. Great man. When my grandfather passed, he became my best friend in the world. And I miss him every day.
Well, I can talk in front of a group of kids real easy, but not adults. So I'm just going to tell my quick story. My favorite memory of us is when Dad came to work with me at Camp Summit. It was a camp for children and adults with disabilities, and he worked with me one Sunday. We did a day at camp. It was amazing to share that with him. That was one of those memories that I'll never forget, and I'm keeping it short and sweet. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Alright. I brought my beer. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, first of all, if you have a drink, raise it real quick. Happy birthday. For those of you who don't know, today is Dad's 71st birthday. So happy birthday, Dad. Cheers. I know most of you, I think, or know of you. For those that don't know me or know of me, my name is Sean. I am Bob, Mac, Chewy, whatever other name he had, Dad's youngest son. Dad and I had an interesting relationship from, real quick, this is Jet. Hey buddy, this is my son Jet. Can you say hi? Hi Jet. He likes to be on stage. Dad and I had an interesting relationship over the years. We both found times where we were super busy and times where we had a lot of time together. And one of the things that you've heard so far, and it is absolutely true, is he would do anything for anybody at any time. One of the jobs that I have right now, I own a t-shirt printing business, and I also help run a baseball organization. And within the baseball organization, my title that's been given to me is the Director of Communications. And so within that, I try to think of myself as a decent speaker. And so in order to get up today and be prepared, I practiced my speech and went over it. and realized when I was done that it was like 45 minutes long, and I don't think you guys want to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to me. So a couple of quick stories, just because they're fun and kind of remind me of my dad. When Dad would come pick us up, one of our favorite things we would do is we would go to Trader's Village. We'd spend the day at Trader's Village, and he would give Carrie and myself, sometimes Chuck, when he would come with us, like $10, $15, and say, hey, whatever you want, it's your money, you buy it, you're good to go. And so, in this one trip, I wanted a cross necklace of all things. That's all I wanted while we were out there. No baseball cards, none of that. And so, we find this cross necklace, and I wear it, and I go to school, and the teacher decides to come take a look at it and realize that if you unfolded the cross necklace, it was a pocket knife. And that was my dad. We loved knives and guns and all that stuff, so that was just kind of his deal. I get a little bit older and started driving and realized that I had a lead foot when I drove. And I think that equated to 15, 18, 19, 20 speeding tickets before I was 17 years old. And so the city of DeSoto that I grew up in, the judge decided he wanted to see me. And so Dad decided he was going to go visit the judge with me that day. So we get there, and the judge is telling me how I'm just a terrible child, and I'm going to just lead this life of crime. And Dad, to my defense, stood up and he yelled at the judge in the middle of the courtroom and was like, I think he's figured it out, like, let him be. And so I kept waiting for the TV moment where they hold you in contempt and take you away. But the judge was super lenient and said, all right, you guys can go. And so that was one of the first times I remember where he was probably a little bit more defiant than he should have been. I think that's where I get a lot of it from. So then I grew up, moved on to Lubbock, to Texas Tech. And Dad, I found out a little bit later in life that he was unbelievably proud of me being a Red Raider. His cars, if you guys ever remember his Volkswagen, there was 1.5 million magnets on that car. And my favorite one on there, it just said Texas Tech Dad. And so I loved seeing that one all the time. And while I was in Lubbock, I joined a fraternity. And we were able to have alumni be initiated. So as long as you'd never been in a fraternity, you could come and be initiated as an alumni. So he came and decided that he wanted to be initiated into Delta Chi, the fraternity that I was in. Well, if you've ever been in a fraternity, after you get initiated, there's a party that night. And Dad decided that he was going to show me how to handle a bottle of Goldschlager. And so we had a great time. We partied like crazy. He was supposed to leave at